Good morning to everyone who's joining us on CrossPoint Online, and also a happy Father's Day to all the fathers watching. If you're a first-time guest, we would love to know that. So drop a comment below if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, and then hit the first-time guest button on our website if you are watching for the first time there. And if you do this, we will donate $5 to one of 4 organizations that we partner with as a church. And now we're going to pass it over to Katie, our pastor to families with children, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about something that we call Table Talk.
Yeah, so whether you're able to join us in person for Kid XP or not, we know that you, parents, are the #1 disciplers in your child's life. And so we want to help you continue Kid XP at home. So we are going to be offering you what we call Table Talk questions. And so these are great conversation starters for you and your children to continue talking about today's Bible story. So feel free to screenshot these questions and discuss over.
Thank you, Katie. That's definitely going to be a good time and a good way for families to interact with one another. Transition into our time of worship. So please stick around as we take a peek on what's happening in the big room.
Good morning. How's everybody doing? Good. It is so good to see your faces. Like, I know I was just up here 2 weeks ago, but I just can't get over how good it is to have everybody back in the room. And we are so glad that you are with us. If this is your first time here, we would love to get a chance to say hi to you and just ask how you're doing and just be able to answer any questions that you have. If you would, as you're leaving, you can stop by the welcome table and say, hey, this is my first time here. And we can just introduce ourselves as well. If you want, you can also do that on our app. We have an phone app that's CrossPoint Now, and you can download that for free. And you can click, hey, this is my first time, or I need to communicate with you in this way. I'd like to volunteer. I'd like to look for some next steps. How can I get more involved? I need prayer. I'm trying to think of all the others. Some other things coming up too. Oh, yeah, there's some cool stuff coming up. So put a bookmark in that, okay? And then we'll come back to it. All right, so if you're a first-time guest, those are all your instructions. If you are looking to become more involved, I mean, we have been stuck in the house for 2 months or more, and you're like, man, I'm just ready to start. As the wheels are going, start getting moving and getting. We have a lot of volunteer opportunities. On Sunday morning alone, we've got some production stuff and things that go on because of our online ministry. And Kid XP is just getting started, and we need some people back there. And Student XP is getting started on Wednesday nights. And if Sundays and Wednesdays don't work, Thursday evenings, we really could use some volunteers back in the kids and even with some food for Celebrate Recovery. So there's a lot of opportunities. If you're saying, hey, you know what, this is something that I can do, you will not regret it. It is just a great way to meet people, work with people, and be a benefit to others. If you are a teen and you are looking for something to do this summer, if you are a parent of a teen and need your student to do something this summer, we have an opportunity July 23rd through 25th, and it's called the 606 Youth Conference. And it's going to start Thursday night through Saturday. $25 is all it is. And it's a great time for youth to kind of just get together, play games, have fun. There's some content involved as well. You can sign up for that on our app. And look, so go to the app CrossPoint Now, and it's underneath student trips, and you can pay for it and sign up and do everything there on the app. All righty. If you want to get involved any other way or communicate in any other way, the app is the best way to do that. Or you can stop by the welcome table and ask any question that you might have. So happy Father's Day. Yeah, oh, I love that claps. Thank you, Angela. Thank you. Start it. Claps. Happy Father's Day. There, I appreciate that. She's my plant. I appreciate it. Yeah, guys, we're so grateful for you. And I know that I had a great dad, but I also had some really influential people in my life. And so I am really grateful for that. So I thought it would be fun to play a game. So I have asked a couple of people to come help me. If they would come on up right now, that would be great. And so we're going to kind of just kind of play a game here. And I'll kind of get this set up. Nobody's allergic to peanut butter, right? Oh, good. I forgot to ask that in the qualifications. Okay, so there's this one set up. Okay, and here we're going to set. They don't know what they're doing, so isn't this fun? Okay, all right. Now, are you right-handed? Okay, cool. Are you right-handed? Cool. All right, I am good. Here's the trick. Come here, Sean. And Callie, I want you to put your hand up here. Can you put it in the bag? Just this one. We are going to tie these hands together. Okay? That's not too tight, right? Okay, you are going to have to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with these two hands. Okay, just a minute. We'll get them set up over here. You're right-handed, right?
Yes.
Okay, flip over. Are you right-handed?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, your hands are going to go in there. And see, isn't this a great use for these bags? Well, I know. I try to just be very resourceful. Okay. All right. Not too tight, right?
Nope.
No cheating. All right. Now, we're going to introduce our lovely contestants. All right. So your name is?
Kevin.
Anna.
What?
Anna.
There it is. All right. Names?
Sean.
Callie.
All righty. Now, any questions? We all understand the rules. Now, here's the thing. At CrossPoint, we really believe in quality control. So there's none of this slapping the peanut butter in the middle and call it good. Okay? Arwen taught me something last service. Crust to crust is a must. Thank you. I don't know who said that, but thank you. Crust to crust is a must. Okay, I'm not OCD about a lot of things, but man, that peanut butter has to be do you just eat the middle? No, you eat the whole sandwich. Okay, so, all right, you guys ready? Okay, get your hands out and ready. On your mark, get set, go. No, you can't use that hand. There you go. There you go. Yep. Yeah. There you go. Oh. All right, they got the peanut butter going. Look at them go. Look at this teamwork. All right, look at this edge-to-edge work here. This is amazing. I don't know, we're kind of missing a little bit on the edge. I know. Oh my goodness, a peanut butter lover here. Good job, good job, good job. Oh. He's out to win. Yeah, let's get going. Yeah. Oh my goodness, this is a big sandwich. Like, that's not it. No. Get that spread out. Done. All right. We have a winner. Anna, you're welcome to eat it, but are you sure you want to? All right. For our winners, we have a $10 Cafe Cream gift card. I've heard that Blue Panda stuff is amazing. Oh, it's yours? All right. You can take your dad out for that, okay? There you go. And I've got a green, what? No. All right. We have a mug for this dad, world's okayest dad.
That's very good.
Do you need a hand wipe?
No, I'm good.
Okay, do you guys need a hand wipe? What? I was a mess for service. All right, cool, give him a hand. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What great teamwork. I missed that. I'm going to have to go back and check what happened. Thank you so much. You guys are great sports. Today, besides it being Father's Day, Chad is going to be bringing our message as we continue the series, Presence. And I don't know about you. I hope you've been able to, if you haven't been able to be here, you've been able to catch up online. This has been a very powerful series. And we have these bracelets that you can grab if you leave from that door or at the welcome table, just to kind of give us a reminder that no matter how our day's going, we are always in the Lord's hands. He is always our shepherd. And so I just think that that is just such a strong truth that we need to live by. And so, but before he does, we're going to do some worship. So let's stand up and praise the God who is always our shepherd and who we can always depend on.
We're going to sing a new song this morning. We're so glad you guys decided to join us. It's about worshiping God for his faithfulness and us just believing in him. Let praise be a weapon that silences the enemy. Let praise be a weapon that conquers all anxiety. Let it rise. Let praise arise. We sing your name in the dark and it changes everything. We sing with all we are and claim your victory. Let it rise. Let praise arise. We'll see you break down every wall. We'll watch the giants fall. Fear cannot survive when we praise you. The God of breakthroughs on our side. Forever lifted high. With all creation cry, God, we praise you. Oh, we praise you. Oh, let faith be a song that overcomes the raging sea. Let faith be a song that calms the storm inside of me. Let it rise. Let faith arise. We'll see you break down every wall. We'll watch the giants fall. Fear cannot survive when we praise you. The God of breakthroughs on our side. Forever lifted high. With all creation cry, God, we praise you. Oh, we praise you. Oh, this is what living looks like. This is what freedom feels like. This is what heaven sounds like. We praise you. We praise you. This is what living looks like. This is what freedom feels like. This is what heaven sounds like. We praise you. We praise you. This is what living looks like. This is what freedom feels like. This is what heaven sounds like. We praise you. We praise you. This is what living looks like. This is what freedom feels like. This is what heaven sounds like. We praise you. We praise. We'll see you break down every wall. We'll watch the giants fall. Fear cannot survive when we praise you. The God of breakthroughs on our side. Forever lifted high. With all creation cry, God, we praise you. We'll see you break down every wall. We'll watch the giants fall. Fear cannot survive when we praise you. The God of breakthroughs on our side. Forever lifted high. With all creation cry, God, we praise you. Oh, we praise you. Oh, we praise you. Oh, we praise you. Oh, we praise you. Amen. Let's lift up a clap of praise and celebrate him this morning. Let's sing this together this morning. Speak to me. Speak to me when the silence steals my voice. You understand me. You understand me. And come to me in the valley of unknowns. You understand me. You understand me. You understand me, God. You understand me. So I throw all my cares before you. My doubts and fears don't scare you. You're bigger than I thought you were. You're bigger than I thought. So I stop all negotiations with the God of all creation. You're bigger than I thought you were. You're bigger than I thought. Yeah. Let's lift this up together. I believe. I believe, but help my unbelief, 'cause you understand me. You understand me. Help me reach the faith that's underneath, 'cause you understand me. You understand me. You understand me, God. You understand me. So I throw all my cares before you. My doubts are bigger than I thought you were. You're bigger than I thought. I stop all negotiations with the God of all creation. You're bigger than I thought you were. Yeah, you're bigger than I thought. Lift it up, I will rest. I will rest in the Father's hand. Sing it out. Leave the rest in the Father's hand. I will rest in the Father's hand. Leave the rest in the Father's hand. I will rest in the Father's hand. Leave the rest in the Father's hand. I will rest in the Father's hand. Leave the rest in the Father's hand. So I throw all my cares before you. My doubts and fears don't scare you. You're bigger than you were. Yeah, you're bigger than I thought. So I stop all negotiating with the God of all creation. 'Cause you're bigger than I thought you were. Yeah, you're bigger than I thought. So much bigger than I thought you were. Yeah, you're bigger than I thought you were.
what you can do, oh God of wonders. Your power has no end. The things you've done before, in greater measure, you will do again. 'Cause there's no prison wall you can't break, no mountain you can't move. the ground. Gotta revive, pour it out, pour it out. Amen. You may be seated.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Good morning to you, those of you here and online, I guess, in East End. It is really, really good to have you today. Thank you for being here. And I know I want to say Happy Father's Day to my dad. And can we just again show the dads in our lives and those who have served in those roles our appreciation. And, I thought it would be good. I struggle with whether or not to share this story because it does not paint me in a good light. But I thought there might be some dads here today who might need to be encouraged. And at least, if nothing else today, you can leave here and say, well, I'm at least a better dad than him. So if that's all you get out of this, then I'll have encouraged somebody. And you see, when I was growing up, one of my great memories with my dad was when he took the time to teach me to ride a bike. And my dad's always kind of calm and cool and collected and kind of patient and soft-spoken, and he was really good at teaching me to ride my bike. And riding a bike to me was a really big deal because in my day, growing up, man, that's how you gained a sense of independence and freedom, and we were allowed to ride all over the place and in a certain radius, but my parents just knew we would be okay because they knew all the neighbors knew us, and they kind of watched out for us, and this was a big deal to me. And so I was really excited when our kids turned of age to be able to take off the training wheels and teach them how to ride a bike. And it went okay with Anna, and then Seth came along, and it was just kind of a different story. We just had a whole different encounter. In fact, I've told Seth that one day when you get to this point in therapy, I will pay for those sessions because I owe it to you, and you'll agree with me after I tell you how it went. And so I did the same thing that my dad did. I put Seth on the bike, and I explained to him how you ride the bike. We took off the training wheels, and I held onto the back. Remember how you used to hold on the back of the bike, and then you start walking. And I start walking with Seth, and I'm helping him kind of get the feel of balancing on that bike. And then I'm like, now, Seth, I want you to start pedaling. He starts pedaling, and I said, now let's go a little faster. And I'm kind of walking faster, and then I'm jogging next to him. And then you know what's supposed to happen. The dad is supposed to let go, and the little one just takes off. And even if it's not for long, you're like, look at you, you're doing it. And usually that's what makes the kid crash because they're like, oh my goodness, I didn't know I was doing that. But then they crash, and you're like, it's okay, you did it. You could do this now. And so, but it didn't go that way for us. Because Seth, somehow he knew every time I would let go, and every time I would let go, he would stop pedaling. And do you know what happens to a bike that does not have forward momentum? It falls, right? And I explained to him, I said, that's the first time I said, Seth, I know what happened. It's okay, buddy. You're just learning. When a bike isn't moving forward, if you don't have enough speed, you're going to fall every time. And so if you just keep pedaling, when I let go, if you just keep pedaling, you've got this because you're balancing really well. He's okay, Daddy. And so I'm like, okay, we got this. Second time, same thing. I let go, he quits pedaling. He falls over. Third time, I let go, he just completely quits pedaling. He falls over. Fourth time, fifth time, sixth time. By the sixth time, he doesn't care if he ever rides a bike again. He's crying. He's bleeding. I don't want to do this. I don't have to do this. He actually said to me, I won't ride a bike. I will have a car. That's what he told me when he was 5. I will have a car. But at this point now, I'm frustrated because I don't know why, but for some reason, I believe that you have to learn to ride a bike. That is a rite of passage. We're not going to quit. We're not going to give up. We just bought this new bike for you, and daggone it, you're going to ride it whether you like it or not. And so I tell him, you get back up there, and we go again, and he falls again. And every time, I could not get through. How did my dad do this? I could not get through. When you don't pedal, you fall. And then the last time that he fell, Kimberly, who has been watching, this is killing her. She's the helicopter parent in the family. I'm the drill sergeant. She comes running to pick her little baby boy up, and Seth's like, Mommy, help me. I can see him look, guys, this man is crazy, and he's trying to kill me. He's bleeding, and Kimberly swoops her baby boy up in her arms, and I'm like, Kimberly, Don't you coddle that boy. Let him go. He is bleeding, Chad. I don't care. He's bleeding because the boy won't listen to me. And now you know why I'm going to pay for his therapy sessions, right? But the truth remains. Not just for riding a bike. I would suggest the truth remains also for other areas of life. If you don't keep pedaling, if you don't keep forward motion, you fall. Not just true for bike riding. I would suggest that's true for a marriage. It's true in a relationship with your children. It's true in relationship with God. It's true if you want to be free of habits, hurts, and hang-ups. If you don't keep moving forward, you fall. And I think some of us would say, now, Chad, that's not completely true. Because those of us who have gotten good at riding bikes, especially on a long bike ride, is there anything better than coasting? You get to that place on the ride, you're tired, you're starting to ache, and then you come to a downward place, a downward slope, and all of a sudden your bike just starts doing the work for you. Isn't that a great moment? The wind is in your face, you can finally lean back and stretch your back, and your legs aren't working anymore, and it feels so good, and you just coast, and you're like, see, you don't always have to keep pedaling to move forward, you can just coast. But you and I know that you can only coast so long, because after so long, you're going to start falling again. And sometimes get to a place where it's like, I'm just going to coast. My marriage is okay. My job, it's okay. Financially, we're not great, but we're okay. Habits, hurts, and hang-ups. There's been a lot worse times in my life. I'm okay. And we start listing all the things that we're okay. My relationship with God, it's okay. And we just convince ourselves that it's okay to just be okay and just kind of coast for a while. But we forget what the Bible says about coasting, and that is pride comes before the fall. The moment we stop moving forward intentionally, the moment we stop pedaling towards where God is taking us, which is always better than okay, is the moment we're setting ourselves often unknowingly for a fall. I mean, if you try it with your marriage. Actually, don't try this. This would be a horrible idea. I was going to say, try this with your marriage. For the next few weeks, don't try at all. Don't do that. Because in a few weeks' time, your marriage will start to fall. Try it in a relationship with God and just watch how quickly you begin to lose His presence and begin to be conformed by old owners that the only thing they do, Jesus says, is kill, steal, and destroy. You in recovery? You want to be free of habits, hang-ups? Just take a break. Just coast for a while. Just be okay with being okay. And watch how quickly a fall begins to occur. Others of us say, no, I got a better one. I got a better one than coasting. I just don't get on the bike again. Just forget riding all that. Let's wait till we can get a car. Don't ride the bike anymore. This is when we've been hurt, we've loved, and then that love has been rejected. You know what? I'm not going to risk that again. I'm not getting on that bike again. We trusted. And the people you trusted broke that trust. I'm not getting on that again. You prayed. And the prayer wasn't answered, at least the way you thought it should be answered. I'm not getting on that again. You dreamed. And now you're staring at the pieces of dreams shattered before you. I'm not dreaming like that again. I tried to be free of my habits. I tried to get past my hurts. I tried to no longer let my hang-ups sabotage the good. Every time there was some good, I tried to get free of this hang-up that would just grab me back and pull me back into the same old crap. I tried, and I couldn't be free. I'm not going to risk that. I'm not going to go there again. I'm not going to feel that shame again. I'm not going to feel that pain again. I'm not getting on that bike again. And as long as I don't get on the bike, I don't have to fall. The problem is, if you're not moving forward, you've already started falling backwards. There's no middle ground in life. There's no middle ground spiritually. We're either taking new ground or we're falling back into old ground. If we could just stay in that one place where we're comfortable and safe and it's okay, that'd be wonderful, but we can't. If you're not moving forward, you're falling. And the Bible talks about this. Jesus tells this story of the talents. And in Jesus' day, it represented money. It was a kind of currency. And Jesus said, there's this master of a house. He goes off on a trip, and before he goes, he says, I'm going to be gone for a while, but I'm going to put you 3 servants in charge of everything I own, my money. And he gives the first servant a certain amount, second servant, third servant. He says, now take something, do with it, make sure that you have something to show for it when I get back. He's gone for a long time. He comes back. He goes to the first servant. What'd you do with the little bit I gave you? And the man says, well, I think you're going to be happy. I went and invested it, and I ended up getting a good return for you, and you have more money now than you did before you left. And he says, well done, my good and faithful servant. I could trust you with a little bit. I can trust you with a whole lot more now. Second servant, same thing. Well done, my good and faithful servant. You took that little bit I had. I can trust you with a little. You can do a whole lot more now. The third servant comes up. And this is the guy who says, I'm okay with being okay. This is the guy who says, I'm not riding that bike again. In fact, you can hear it in what he says to the master. He says, Master, I know you're a hard guy to please. I know that you would not be happy if I lost any money. Maybe he learned that from personal experience. Maybe he did something and he blew it with the master before. And so he's like, I'm not taking any chances. So he said, here's what I did. I took the little bit you gave me. I put it in a hole in the ground. I buried it where no one knew it was there. I pulled it out. And guess what? Thank God, every penny is still there. Aren't you thrilled? And the master says, no, I'm not thrilled. Get away from me. I don't even know you. Who are you? Do you not know who I am? What were you thinking? I can't even trust you with a little. How can I even trust you with more? In other words, what Jesus is saying is if we are not moving forward with God, if we're not taking the little bit that God has given us and trusting Him to do even more, then He's going to take away the little bit we have because we can't keep the ground that we have with God unless we're moving forward. Does that make sense? You've got to keep moving forward or you lose ground. But here's where I think Seth and I went wrong. We got so focused on Seth not falling that we forgot that's not what riding a bike is about. I mean, nobody rode a bike so that they wouldn't fall on the ground. No, but that's not the motivation for anybody who loves to ride a bike. You don't get on the bike and saying, well, I'm going to really try hard not to fall. No, that's a horrible way to live, riding a bike. And so consumed by not falling again, and I was so consumed by trying to get him to figure out how not to fall again, that we forgot that the point of learning to ride a bike is to enjoy the ride. Is to get someplace good, is to get some exercise in a fun way. We completely forgot the point of riding a bike. And I think sometimes in our relationship with God, we forget that too. We get so focused on the bad that we don't want to do anymore. We get so focused on the hurt that we want to get past and we don't want to feel again, that our whole relationship, in fact, our whole life becomes this idea of, I hope I don't fall again. I hope I don't fall again. What can I do not to fall again? And when that is what life is about, man, we've bought into old owners. And Jesus said they've only come to kill, steal, and destroy from you. And we're missing out on an owner, if we'll let him be in charge, who all he wants to do is not show us how not to fall. Oh, he's got something better in mind. He wants you to have life and life to the full. He wants you to enjoy the ride. He wants you to experience the wind of the Spirit in your face. He wants you to experience the exhilaration in Him. And that's what Psalm 23 invites us into. He invites us to follow Him into something that is better. Let me read the last few weeks' worth of verses, and then we'll have it on the screen, end of verse 3. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me along the right paths for His name's sake. And even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. The shepherd, the owner, Jesus, He will never stop taking you someplace better if you will never stop following Him forward, if you will keep moving forward with Him. He'll never stop taking you someplace better. I've told you that I've been reading this Psalm 23 through the eyes of this shepherd named Philip Keller, and he explains that sheep are known for being creatures of habit. Like they will, if you leave them in the same pasture too long, they won't even appreciate and enjoy the whole one pasture. They'll just walk the same path. And if you leave them for days, for months at a time there to fend for themselves, and you're a bad shepherd like that, then they'll walk the same path so much that they get ruts in the ground. And those ruts can get so deep that sheep can trip over it, and some sheep have been known to be cast down. That means they're thrown on their back, and they can't get up, and they'll die like that without a good shepherd. And then he said that sheep are known to get so comfortable that they will eat from the same little patch of grass over and over again until there's literally nothing left there but dirt. And then they'll still keep going back to that same spot. And this shepherd Philip says the only thing that keeps sheep from killing the ground that is giving them life and then in turn killing them is if they have someone who owns them, someone who shepherds them, someone who loves them enough to say, you were made for greener pastures. And that's what is true for us too, isn't it? Isn't it easy for you? Maybe it's just me, but it's easy for me to get in these ruts. These ruts in my relationship with God, my ruts with my relationship with others, these ruts of thinking that are not positive, but they are negative, and it is easy for me just to walk in that same negative rut over and over again and convince myself, I'm okay, at least this is comfortable, and sometimes we get really comfortable just eating from the same little spot over and over again, and we know that we're now eating dirt. We know this isn't tasting so good, but it is more comfortable to keep eating dirt than it is to believe that there could be something better, because at least we know how to live here where we're comfortable. And someone or something will try to hold you there. But that shepherd, Philip, he says one of the things that is fun to watch for a shepherd who loves his sheep is to open a gate to a new pasture. Because he says, even though sheep love the routine and the ruts and the same old, there is something inside of them when they know their shepherd loves them and cares for them and provides for them, that when they opens a new gate, sheep get excited. He said little lambs, when it opens a gate for a new pasture, little lambs will kick up their legs and say, bah, bah, like, I'm so excited. And then he said old ewes who no longer care about anything. They don't get excited over anything. He said it's the most fun thing in the world to watch. You open a gate and an old ewe who can hardly get up and get going is like, bah, bah, I'm a-coming, bah, let's go, and he said it's the most fun thing to watch because you can see the anticipation, you can see the excitement in the sheep when they know that this shepherd, yes, we could stay here, we're comfortable, yes, we could live in this rut to the day we die, but this guy, he's proven to us time and time again that every time we open the gate, there's something better waiting for us, and I believe that's what God wants us to see. We resist God re-owning us. We resist submitting to his authority in our life. Why? Because we're convinced he's going to be like all the other rulers of this world who kill, steal, and destroy. But what God is inviting us to see is that when he opens a gate, it's never to use and abuse us. It's always to free us. It's always to take us something better. Friends, my prayer for you is that you'll start to get excited each time God nudges you and says, listen, you need to be free of that sin. Listen, there's something better for you. Listen, that hurt, you don't need to let it dictate your life anymore. And instead of resisting and staying in our ruts, may God give you a bah! That's what I pray for you. I pray that this week, when God begins to speak to you and says, there's something better for you, rather than resist, there would be something inside of you. I hope you're in public when you do it, that you would say, bah! And you'd be like, oh my gosh, did I just do that? Like, it's time for us to start seeing the shepherd owner as he is. A loving father who's not out to get you, but he's out to take you someplace so much better. Amen? The shepherd owner, he loves you and he longs for you to never stop going someplace better. And you can if you'll never stop moving forward. Because the moment we stop moving forward is the moment we start falling. Man, I know that from personal experience. And then some of us get excited. And some of us take those steps. And some of us dare to believe that healing is possible. Some of us dare to believe that recovery is a real thing. And no sooner do we start to walk outside into this new territory than we discover we're going through the valley of the shadow of death. Can I give you some insight? If you choose to follow God someplace new, before you get to the mountaintop, you'll most likely face resistance. Hell doesn't want you to leave. Your own family, your own friends, they love you, but sometimes those who love us the most hold us back the most. They don't mean to. It's just that when you start changing, then it changes the relationship, and we don't know what to do with that. And so we're like, hey, why don't you come back here and eat the dirt with us? We want good for you, but we don't know how to have it for ourselves. And so even family and friends sometimes will hold you back. Hell will use something to try to keep you back. And the valley of the shadow of death, man, that resistance, we get out and we're like, I don't even know why I left. If I knew I was going to go through this, if I knew this was going to be difficult, You see, when a shepherd in the Middle East or even in the Rocky Mountains, in the summertime and the snow starts to melt and the new grass begins to grow and flourish up on the mountaintops, the shepherd knows that for this season, the best place for those sheep to be is up there, someplace higher, someplace better. But to get there, they got to follow the valleys. You see, you can't go straight up a mountain. Sheep can't do that. The shepherd can't do that. But what they can do is find where all the water from that snow that melts creates these ravines and these valleys, and then you follow that all the way up. But the valleys aren't easy. In the valleys, you're more susceptible to predators. In the valleys, you're susceptible to storms and flash floods, and it's dangerous. And I'm sure that even good shepherds sometimes think, why didn't I stay in the same old pasture down in the low country? Why am I taking, this is too risky, this is too hard, this is too tiring. I'm hot, I'm hungry, I'm tired, this is hard. Why did we do this? And sometimes we feel like that too, don't we? We get so excited about the possibilities of what God could do, and then we get outside the gate and we get in the valley and we're like, this is hard. Like, I'm fine with healing, but I wanted it yesterday, not tomorrow. Yes, I want my marriage to be better, but I didn't know it was going to be this much work. Oh, I want to be free of that habit, but I had no idea how much that habit has a hold on me and how hard it is for it to let go. And we get in the valley, and I don't know what you do in the valley. I'll tell you what, I pitch a tent. You ever pitch a tent in the valley of the shadow of death? You ever live there for a little bit? You're like, I can't do this. No, I don't even know why I try. I'm just going to pitch a tent, make a little campfire. I'm just going to rest right here. And then after a while, you know what I do? I'm like, well, I can't live in a tent. Friends, seriously, I can't sleep in a tent. I hate camping. I can't do it. I can't be in a tent like this. It's too hot. It's too uncomfortable. I've got to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to build a cabin. Well, I won't. I need to bring people in to build a cabin for me. But I'm going to build a cabin. This is going to be nice. And after a while, I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to live here in this place of misery, in the valley of the shadow of death, then let's get a big screen TV. Let's get a pool. Let's make this place nice. Are you with me? Anybody build a home in the valley of the shadow of death? Anybody make up their mind that the only thing I can do is live in my grief? Anybody make up their mind that the only thing I can do is forever be a victim of my abuse? Anybody ever make up their mind that this habit was my dad's habit and my grandpa's habit, and my great-grandpa's habit, and there's no way I can be free? Anybody make up their mind that there's no way that you can ever truly be happy? Anybody make up their mind there's no way that I can really know love? Anybody make up their mind that the best thing you can do is just set up a camp and live in the valley of the shadow of death? Guess what? If you do, you'll be mad at God because God won't be there. And you'll look around and you say, I thought God would never leave me or forsake me. He won't. You left Him. Because God says that even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, God is going to take you someplace higher, and He knows that sometimes the only way to get there is the way I don't want to go, through the valley. And it's uncomfortable and it's hard, but it has a purpose. And as we walk through that valley, we are tempted to stay where we are and say, forget it, I'm not going another step forward. And then God moves on, not to leave us, but because He loves us too much to leave us where we are in our pain, to leave us in that valley. He loves us too much, and so He's going to keep on walking, and He's waiting, and He's asking the whole time, come on, come on. And He keeps calling back the whole time, come on, Chad, get up. Come on, come on, come on down that road. No, don't you stay there. And He's calling to us the whole time, but He will be willing to move on so that we'll have a sense of the absence of His presence, not to harm us, but to call us to that higher place. Because you weren't made to live in the valley. He loves you more than that. The thieves of this world, those things that we give ownership in our lives, they want you to live in the valley. They want you to die in the valley. They want you to become convinced there's nothing more than the valley. But the good shepherd, the owner, the one who laid his life down for you, is calling you to something better. And the shepherd owner will never stop taking you someplace better if you'll never stop following Him forward. You'll never stop keeping moving with Him, knowing that He has something better for you. You say, how in the world do we do that? I think we have to ask a couple of questions. First question is, would you be willing to ask God, Lord, what is one area of my life where You're calling me to leave the old and find something new? What's one area? Not the whole thing. Just if He picked out one area of your life and He said, I got something better for you, would you be willing to hear that there's something better than what you have right now? And then the next question is, what's the next step? One step, not the next 100. What's the next one step that you could take to follow God there? Psalm 119 105 says this. Listen to this. Your word is a lamp for my feet, a light on my path. You know what that says? It says that in that time when they had a lantern, the only thing it lit up in the dark night was the next step. And if you follow that, you would just know the next step. And then you know the next step. And then you'd see, oh, don't go there. The next step. And then the next step. I don't know about you, but I want the next 100 steps. I want Google Maps. I want God to say, here's where I want you to go. I want to bring up the directions so I can see the whole thing. Don't you? Wouldn't that be nice? You know why God doesn't do that? Because I would argue with God and said, Lord, I don't think you want to go that route. Seriously, I think that road's out. I think there's a faster way. You know what I mean? And we would argue with him over it. And so God says, here's what you can handle. You can handle the next step. And you say, how do we know what the next step is? His word. If the only time that you are ever hearing his word is on Sunday mornings when I speak it, oh, God help you. I'm sorry. Because I'm not that good. I'm not. You need his word daily. Even if it's just a YouVersion Bible app daily random selected scripture for you. If you even just do that, you'll be surprised how when God is calling you someplace new, how each day you'll find, oh, let me read that again. Oh, I see now. Okay, I don't know the next 10 steps, but I can see the next step right now. And his word reveals the path to us, step by step, day by day, little by little, moving through the valley into that higher place where he has something better for you. So what if we did that? Well, I think we would start to learn that there's more to the story than the shadow of death wants you to believe there is. When I was little, I've heard this story all my life, and my uncle would usually be the one. My Uncle Ronnie would tell the story, and my family would support him that it was true. And it was a story I liked to hear. It was a funny story. It always made me laugh when I was growing up. And I would sometimes ask him, tell me the story, Ronnie, when I was afraid of my shadow. Because when I was 2 or 3 years old, I was afraid of my shadow. And they said, one day, Chad, you discovered your shadow, and you took off running and screaming and crying, that man's chasing me, stop that man. And they just laughed, and that was funny. I thought it was funny. But one day, for some reason, I said to my Uncle Ronnie, I said, there has to be more to that story. Tell me, is there anything you've left out, anything you've not shared? And he's like, well, I don't think so. I said, well, tell me how it went down. And he said, well, here's how it happened. He said, you were 2 or 3, and my uncle, keep in mind, he's never had children. And I think that'll make more sense in a moment. But he's never had children, and so he said to me, when I was 2 or 3 years old, he said, I wondered in my head, Chad, if you had ever recognized your shadow. And so I asked you, I said, hey, Chad, turn around and look at that guy behind you. And I turned around and looked behind me, and he said, now wave your hands. And so I waved my hands, and guess what? My shadow was waving back. And he said, look, that man's waving at you. And I was like, I think that's cool. There was a part of me that was like, that's kind of freaking me out, you know? And he said, then I said to you, I said, Chad, start walking, and let's see if he follows you. And so I started walking, and guess what? The shadow is following me. I'm like, well, that's not cool. And he's like, yeah. He said, then I said, what'd you say next, Ronnie? I said, well, then I said, Chad, run and see if he, and then you started running. And he said, look behind you, Chad. And I looked behind, and that shadow's running as fast as I am. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And he's like, Chad, run. He's going to get you. He's going to get you. Oh, all of a sudden, a whole part of my childhood made sense. Right? Because I knew the rest of the story. I used to have nightmares. I really remember this. Nightmares, a recurring nightmare of shadow people trying to get me. I just thought I was a wimpy little child who was afraid of his own shadow. No. I was the one who was tormented by a man who had never had children and didn't know what he was doing, right? But once you learn the rest of the story, it makes a difference. And I think the shadow of death in this life, it's so easy to only see its side of the story. And the shadow of death, what hell wants you to see, is it's never going to get better. You aren't worth anything. You've tried to be free before. You failed before. You'll fail again. This grief that has broken your heart, there's no healing from this. This disappointment that you've experienced, you should never give yourself permission to hope again because you don't want to feel this pain again. This faith, it's not even real. It's just something we make up to fool ourselves into having a crutch to get through this hard life and to believe in something that doesn't exist afterwards. That's all hell wants you to hear. Why? Because hell wants you to live in the valley of the shadow of death. But here's the rest of the story. There was a God who sent his only Son, who came into the shadow of the valley of death. And he suffered, and he bled, and he died. And he went all the way to hell, and he lived there for 3 days. But on the third day, he came out the other side. And the reason he did that was because he was tired of his creation. He was tired of you who are made in the image of God, believing that that's all there is to the story is the shadow side of death. Because you know what? There's something interesting about a shadow. You can't have a shadow without light. Isn't that true? You can't have a shadow in a dark room. The only way you can have a shadow is if there's light. And God says hell and this world wants you to focus on this side of the shadow and miss that there's a light that's right on the other side. And if you can be convinced to live according to the shadow of death, you'll live there in misery and die there in misery and perhaps live in misery for eternity. But if you will dare to believe the other side of the story, if you'll dare to begin walking towards the other side of the story while you're still in the dark, there is a light that is up there on the mountain that nothing can stop from shining in your life. And that light casts out all darkness. Amen? And that's what can happen for you and me when we dare to believe the rest of the story. And that's what I want to pray for you about today. I'm going to ask Pastor Noah in Augusta and Pastor Jeremiah in East End to come to their places of worship and lead in prayer there and give any words they want to share as they wrap it up. And then we're going to pray here and for online. But I just want to ask this question real quick. What's one area of your life where God wants to lead you forward? And what's one next step he might be calling you to take today to start following him to someplace better? Jesus, that's what we want to ask you. I think this needs to be a time where we talk to you more than they listen to me talk to you. Because in John chapter 10, you said, the sheep know your voice. And I have no doubt the people in this room and the people online, they don't give themselves enough credit. They know your voice. And so we're just going to ask you, Lord, shepherd, owner, where is it that you're calling us to go next? What's some rut in my life? What's some patch of grass that has nothing left for me there that you're inviting me to trust you to go someplace better? We're just going to take a moment, Lord, to let you speak to that. And Lord, would you give us permission as you open that gate to be excited? You're not calling us someplace better because you're mad at us. You're not punishing us. You truly want to take us someplace better. And then just in your own quiet prayer, would you just tell him, Lord, if there's someplace better you want me to go, I'm willing. And if you're not willing, you don't need to lie about it. He knows anyhow. But if you're willing or you want to be willing, even though you may be afraid, just tell him, Lord, I'm willing. And then maybe you're ready to ask him, God, I'm not gonna demand that you give me the whole road map there. What's the next step? Give him permission to show you the next step. Whether it's right now, or this week when you get in the Bible and you read a verse, or it's the next week or the week after that, you're going to be open to him showing you what the next step is. And then if you're willing, just go ahead and tell him, and God, by your grace, I'm not going to argue with you about it. I'm going to trust you. That you would never call me to leave one old pasture if you weren't ready to take me someplace higher and better. And God, maybe for somebody today, that first step is just saying, Jesus, I want you as my shepherd owner. If you're real, then I want you in my life. And right now in your seat or online, you can just simply say, Jesus, I want you. I need you. Be the forgiver of my sins and leader of my life. And Lord, if anybody makes that decision today, may they not keep it to themselves, but may they share with me or another believer what they've done so that hell can't take it away from them. We love you and we thank you and we anticipate the better place you have for us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you all so much for being here. We're going to let those who have children in Kid XP go ahead and be dismissed first, and you can exit through this side door, go straight through the orange doors and pick them up. And then once they've had a chance to clear out, and then you can go right through that side door right there. Yeah, that'll be a little easier for you. Once they've cleared out, we're going to invite the ushers to come and dismiss you by sections. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining with us this morning, and here's some more information on next steps you can take.
For those of you that call CrossPoint Online your home church, we want to invite you to join our private Facebook page. So all you have to do is search CrossPoint Online, click join, and there you'll be able to find out more information about what's going on in the church, share prayer requests, and join e-groups, online small groups. So we're excited to kickstart this and for you to join our Facebook page. Thank you for joining us this morning, and have a great rest of your week.